Welcome to the podcast, Movies and Monsters. I'm your host who likes her monster fix, yours truly, Charlotte Neal. I am really interested in horror, and I like this scary business of being scared. And I have something to increase your hunger, maybe for blood in this case. The next monster we're going to talk about will be exhilarating and can seduce anyone. Vampires are creatures of the night, so today we're going to rattle out their history as far back as the legends began, in Movies and Monsters. The world's first vampire movie was Nosferatu in 1922. It was of the tale of Dracula. The film was banned, as it infringed on Bram Stoker's estate and all copies were destroyed. One copy of the release survived the destruction, and it was produced again, through the ages. The names have changed, but it is the same premise. Harter is on the business trip to get Count Orlok to sign on the dotted line. The real estate agent suspects his client to be a vampire. We have Van Helsing trying to help Ellen not become a victim of the Count after her best friend's demise. This was made into Bram Stoker's Dracula, a more updated version, where the Count's beloved dies during the battle. There's a splitting image of the real estate agent's wife. The Count is obsessed with getting her back. This is where vampires became seductive, and the old days of vampires were gone. Another popular movie was Interview with a Vampire, which is about a vampire being interviewed with his life in San Francisco and beyond, and his tales with Lestat. He has a genuine 200-year history that he wants to communicate if his interviewer believes him. The Lost Boys is where a mother and son decide to live in a small coastal community. The youngest joins a clan of vampire hunters, while the older boy gets sucked in by a seductive gang of bikers who are vampires. The TV show known for its comedic timing is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, about a girl called Buffy who is a slayer of demons, vampires, and other gruesome creatures, trying to balance her life of being a teenager and a slayer. The TV show Vampire Diaries portrayed Elena, who lost her parents in an accident, and she falls in love with Stefan, a 162-year-old vampire. The relationship gets complicated when his brother returns, attempting to bring back their dead lover, who looks just like Elena. This started the teenage love affair and supernatural storyline. The Twilight movies capitalized on this, bringing this style of story to movie screens with vampires and werewolves and teen romance. When we train ourselves to look at vampires, we can say nature has a part to play when looking for inspiration. There are 3 species of vampire bats. They have scissors to create a wound, which they use to feed off of mammals and birds. They have to keep up with their blood supply every night. They also transmit rabies. Leeches feed off the blood that can be up to 8 times of what they weigh. They are able to because of their gigantic stomachs. Fleas are able to practically launch themselves onto their prey, and they have 4 rows of teeth to wound their prey so the blood gushes out. It is known to consume 15 times its body weight for itself and its ever-growing family. Humans have been labeled as vampires since the beginning of time. Dracula started when the man called Vlad the Impaler came into being. He had a terse history. Dracul means son of the dragon. The impalement was his most famous execution. He won membership to the Order of the Dragon. He died when the Ottoman patrol took his head and sent it to Constantinople. Transylvania is where Bram Stoker found his inspiration. There were other examples of cases like Elizabeth Bathory, who was a Hungarian serial killer who liked to bathe in the blood of her victims. There are real-life vampires, but not like Hollywood portrays them. They don't sit in the dark, and they don't bite people's necks. They are a breed of their own. What they do instead is even stranger. They get their vitality from 6-inch long incisions by a sterilized scalpel that doesn't leave a mark. The procedure is done by trained personnel. The blood from a donor has to be certified, meaning no blood-borne diseases. Sustaining themselves by feeding is a ritual that they won't likely confess on the street. A vampire can look like any old person. It's a secret of lifestyle. They are born with these cravings. They are not to be mistaken for goths. It becomes a lifestyle through puberty or trauma. Vampires learn how to resist feeding. It's called hematomania, the craving to drink blood. They get withdrawal symptoms if they have quenched their thirst. Animal blood is another substitute, but nothing beats human blood to them. A few teaspoons a week is all that's needed for the bloodthirsty and a diet of like any other human. There are two types of vampires, the sanguinarians who feed off blood, and the psychic vampires who drain people's life force. Outsiders conflate vampires in movies with real-life vampires, so they think they're crazy. They live in fear of being hated or discriminated against. They cannot tell the world who they are for fear of reprisal, just like fictional vampires. The vampire community is a safe space, and vampires say they feel welcome with open arms. Mental health practitioners, at the expressed desire of would-be vampires, should approach the situation with inner calmness of their legitimate lifestyles. Real vampires love the shadows more than coming out, but hopefully that will change with tolerance. They are more concerned about the day-to-day, mundane lifestyle and finding a blood donor who can meet their high standards. They don't want the media blaming them for the ills of society. Stay tuned as we tackle new monsters every week on Movies and Monsters. The next episode is going to be Hold On To Your Seats, Humans and Technology. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter and send us more of your monster requests.